Crowds outside the Lindo wing are still waiting for any news of the royal baby's arrival. The Duchess of Cambridge, Kate Middleton, is now thought to be 4 days overdue. UK correspondent Olly Barratt joins me now. Olly, great to have you with us. All right, so 4 days overdue, no reason for alarm, but obviously it is a talking point.
It's certainly a talking point, and we think she may be 4 days overdue, but no one really knows. The Duchess of Cambridge herself had spoken to well-wishers at one point during royal duties and had said to them that she was due in the towards the mid to the end of April, but no one really knows the exact due date, so it may well be that we haven't reached it yet. But certainly crowds have been growing slowly outside the Lindo wing at St Mary's Hospital in Paddington, not at all on the scale that they did last time around. That's partly, of course, because this time the child won't be the first child of the royal couple, and it won't be the one of the heirs to the throne in the same way that Prince George was. So there's less excitement, but certainly also the police and the royal household have made it a little bit more difficult for the media to camp out there day and night as well. They want the hospital to be able to go about its business in a way that it wasn't really able to last time around.
OK, so Olly, those rules, though, don't apply to normal citizens, do they? So that's why we're seeing these elaborately dressed well-wishers camping out.
Exactly. They're allowed to be there. They have the rights of way as they would normally do as a member of the public, and their numbers have been growing, but not. It's still true to say not to the same extent that they did last time around. But we know some of these faces. They're always at all of these events, and we know them by name now. They will always be there for anything like this to do with the royal family.
Well, they're practically members of the royal family themselves. They're practically Windsors, these people. That's their life. Just very quickly, they will, and obviously there's talk of the Duchess being induced. I read a fascinating article about it from someone who obviously didn't know what they were talking about, but did know something about inducing women to have babies. Is that likely to happen? Do we know, is there a precedent for this in the royal family?
It's possible that it could happen. If her due date has genuinely come and gone, we understand that at this particular hospital in this private wing, normally if you get to a week, they will induce you. And it may well be that there's already a date in the diary for that to happen. Of course, we know that Kate had some complications with her pregnancy the first time around. So obviously, doctors will be keeping a very close eye on her.
All right, Olly, 10 days out from the British election, and a lot of commentators have been saying, for God's sake, David, if you really want this job, show some passion. And finally, it appears there is a sliver of passion being shown.
There was. David Cameron got very animated on the campaign trail today. He said he was going to be lively. He said he was passionate and that he wants to fight for this election campaign. The difficulty for him is that a lot of people within his own party have been saying he hasn't been looking like he really wants it up to now. David Cameron himself has said he's a very calm individual. The difficulty for him now showing this passion and this fight as he did today is that there's a danger of him looking like someone's told him to look as if he's passionate. And it's a sense in which some people will question whether it's genuine. But certainly he was fired up on the campaign trail today. And as you say, 10 days to go now. He needs to be, because at the moment he hasn't got anything like the kind of lead in any of the polls that he will need to bring home a parliamentary majority.
I mean, he appears almost to be socially incompetent, doesn't he? As many members of the aristocracy are. All right, very, very quickly, Olly, it appears that bridge, a much-loved pastime by many in England, is going to be considered to be officially marked as a sport.
That's right. The English Bridge Union are attempting to bring a legal challenge against the idea that bridge is not a sport. Essentially, they want to get to the point where they can secure funding from bodies like Sport England, who dole out money to basketball and other sports around the country. They haven't been able to get hold of any of that funding, so they're bringing this legal challenge. And today we've heard from a High Court judge saying that they can bring this legal challenge because, in his view, bridge involves a muscle, that muscle being the brain. Of course, this opens up potential floodgates for Scrabble players and Monopoly players who also think that their favourite games are sports too.
All board games. Olly, thank you very much for joining us. That's our British correspondent, Olly Barratt.